Hello, I'm Diana Crawford with Crawford Merritt & Company. I'm a CPA. I've been doing small business and individual tax returns using ProSeries for about the last 20 years. Thought I would tell you about a really nice time-saving feature within ProSeries. It's the Client Status Worksheet, a worksheet that keeps track of exactly where all of your clients stand in the tax return. And you can see that information from Homebase, so no need to keep another tracking system on where your tax returns are. Let me show you how that works.
The Client Status Summary is something in ProSeries that helps me track the progress on all of my clients' federal and state returns. Whenever I complete a task within a client's file, I just enter the date on the Client Status Worksheet, and very easily from my Homebase, I can see where I stand. You'll see the Client Status column here, and we have one client where we've completed the Client Status Worksheet, and it shows us that this return is done and the client has been billed. So let's go into this client and take a look at the Client Status Worksheet. When you first open up the return, it's a quick zoom to go to the client status, and this shows you exactly where this tax return stands. There's several options we can look at having this printed with our tax return if we want to keep track within our tax file of how this tax return was prepared. Then we can also track how this tax return flowed through our office, the date that the organizer was sent to the client. And whenever we place an X in the box to the left, the date is populated out to the right. Now, obviously, today's date is populating, but as we clicked on these dates, when these functions were completed, that current date was populated there. So what did we have? We have first our organizer that was sent to our client. After that, the organizer was sent back to us from our client. We transferred the client's file from the prior year to the current year. And not all of these boxes have to be checked if it's information that you don't particularly want to keep track of. For example, perhaps the client sent this information in to you but didn't schedule an appointment. Maybe you collect the information, input the return as far as you can, and then go over the return with an appointment with the client afterwards. What about if you need more information? You have the missing client information function within the ProSeries, but you can also list the information here on your Client Status Worksheet. Now, once your data input is completed, you can check this box again here to know at what point in time this return can be wrapped up. If you have someone in your return that reviews the returns separately from the preparer, here's where this information can be signed off on, checked off that this was sent to the reviewer, and also you could put in that the review was completed and on what date that was completed. The date is just typed in. Your final tax return printed date, any of these boxes can be completed but don't have to be completed. But it definitely keeps track of how this client's tax return flowed through the office. This also tracks your electronic filing information. Now, the electronic filing information is automatically populated for you once you e-file a tax return. So if you have a client's tax return, you've marked it as e-filed, and you have e-filed it, when the return acceptance comes back from the IRS, then this box and the date is automatically entered for you on this Client Status Worksheet. Really helpful so that you don't have to go manually look at that individual tax return file. You can record information about returning the tax return, delivering the tax return to the client, what date that occurred, and what date you billed the client, and even how much. So if you keep track of your billing through an external billing process, great. You don't have to enter that information here, but you certainly can. If you keep that information, then it rolls forward from year to year. So let's just say we billed this client $365 this year. Hopefully we would have billed them a little bit closer to the date the return went out. And here's what we billed them over the last couple of years, so we can really quickly determine what we're going to bill them for this current year's tax return. That also might be based on time and billing information, but that gives you a good heads up right here. You've also got two comment areas for the bottom of this worksheet. The current year comments are only for the current year return. The permanent comments roll over from year to year. So this is a great place that if you interviewed the client or they gave you information that pertains to the next year's tax return, enter it in this permanent comments section, and that will roll forward and be there ready for you when you go to prepare next year's return. Current year comments just stay in the current year's tax file, but those permanent comments can be things that you want to know year to year or that you learn this year that you want to roll over to next year. So just by having all of this information about how you prepared the return, what the status is, has it been e-filed, has it been accepted, has it been delivered to the client, have they been billed, you can even put in whether or not you've received the payment from the client. This is a great way of keeping up with where exactly your clients are. And the last status that is checked on this client status form is the client status that we saw back on our home base. So now we've marked that we've received this. Now we have a nice client paid on our home base. A great feature and helps us keep track of where exactly all of the tax returns that we have in process stand. Great time-saving feature. I hope that helps you.